like a Hellcat.
Larry Page co-founded Google with Sergey Brin. He now sits on the board of its parent company, Alphabet. Page is the genius behind Google's PageRank algorithm that powers the ubiquitous search engine. He's also behind the healthcare company Calico and the technology company Nest. Since he founded Google in 1998, it has become a tech behemoth with almost no comparable rivals. This earned him a cool $50.8 billion, making him the 10th richest person on Earth. Michael Bloomberg graduated from Johns Hopkins University in 1964 with a degree in electrical engineering. After graduating from Johns Hopkins, he received his MBA from Harvard Business School. In 1966, Bloomberg was hired by Salomon Brothers in New York. His starting salary at Salomon was $9,000 a year. Fast forward to 2019, he has one of the largest media empires in the world and was the 108th mayor of New York City. He is worth an unbelievable $55.5 billion, and that number is only growing. As chronicled in the semi-dramatized biopic The Social Network, Facebook has a tumultuous origin story. The founding of Facebook has been in dispute since the very week 19-year-old Mark Zuckerberg launched the site as a Harvard sophomore on February 4, 2004. Then called thefacebook.com, the site was an instant hit. Now, 15 years later, the site has become one of the biggest websites in the world, visited by more than 2 billion people a month. Though the company has been embroiled in controversy for the last year, it still makes a massive profit, earning Zuckerberg a $62.3 billion fortune. Larry Ellison is the founder and CEO of Oracle Corporation. He is also a major investor in Tesla. In 1977, Ellison and two of his colleagues founded Software Development Labs and soon had a contract to build a database management system, which they called Oracle, for the CIA. The company had fewer than 10 employees and revenue of less than $1 million per year. But in 1981, IBM signed on to use Oracle, and the company's sales doubled every year for the next 7 years. Ellison soon renamed the company after its best-selling product. Now his various financial interests, from cloud computing to hydroponics, have netted him $62.5 billion. Amancio Ortega is another figure who remains in the shadows, though his products are ubiquitous. He was the founder of Inditex, which includes pret-a-porter fashion chains such as Zara, Pull&Bear, Massimo Dutti, Bershka, Stradivarius, Oysho, and Uterque. Ortega founded the first Zara ready-to-wear clothing store in A Coruña in 1975, and it became not only an internationally famous chain, but also the flagship of holding company Inditex, which he founded 10 years later. Notoriously private, few people know much about Ortega, but through tax records, it's clear that he makes $400 million just from dividends every year. On top of his corporate profits, Ortega is worth $62.7 billion. Imagine if the grocery store, the cell phone provider, and biggest national construction conglomerate were all owned by the same company. No matter where you shop, you're still supporting the same business. That's essentially the situation in Mexico, where one of the world's richest people, Carlos Slim Helú, resides. The 79-year-old has a net worth of $64 billion, and from 2010 to 2013, he was the richest man in the world. He is not only the richest man in Mexico, but in all of South America. His conglomerate includes education, healthcare, industrial manufacturing, transportation, real estate, media, energy, hospitality, entertainment, high technology, retail, sports, and financial services. He accounts for 40% of the listings on the Mexican Stock Exchange, while his net worth is equivalent to about 6% of Mexico's gross domestic product. You may not have heard of Bernard Arnault, but you've certainly seen his products sported by celebrities and ultra-wealthy clientele all over the world. The luxury group he oversees, LVMH, is the parent company of brands like Louis Vuitton, Moet & Chandon, and Hennessy Cognac. Arnault controls about half of LVMH, which had revenue of 42.6 billion euros in 2017, making him the richest man in France. As the fourth richest man in the world, Arnault is worth a whopping $72 billion. In addition to LVMH, Arnault oversees further investment in holding vehicles. Group Arnault has invested in Netflix and Blue Capital, and also took a major stake in French food chain Carrefour. In addition, he has invested in Boo.com and a variety of other online ventures, as well as buying Princess yachts outright. Known as the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett is an investment guru and one of the richest and most respected businessmen in the world. Born in Nebraska in 1930, Warren Buffett demonstrated keen business abilities at a young age. He formed Buffett Partnership Ltd. in 1956, and by 1965 he had assumed control of Berkshire Hathaway, overseeing the growth of a conglomerate with holdings in the media, insurance, energy, and food and beverage industries. Buffett became one of the world's richest men and a celebrated philanthropist. His net worth is $82.5 billion, though he has pledged to give it all away during his lifetime. Entrepreneur and businessman Bill Gates and his business partner Paul Allen founded and built the world's largest software business, Microsoft, through technological innovation, keen business strategy, and aggressive business tactics. In the process, Gates became one of the richest men in the world. In February 2014, Gates announced that he was stepping down as Microsoft chairman to focus on charitable work at his foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Though Gates is still number 2 on the list, he has already given away more than a third of his fortune. Once seen as a greedy technocrat, Gates has proven that he is genuinely invested in improving the lives of others, rather than accumulating an absurd amount of money. All the same, he is worth $96.5 billion. And then there's Jeff Bezos. He has been the richest person in the world for just over a year, but his retail juggernaut Amazon.com seems bent on world domination. The entrepreneur and e-commerce pioneer was born in 1964 in New Mexico. Bezos had an early love of computers and studied computer science and electrical engineering at Princeton University. After graduation, he worked on Wall Street, and in 1990 he became the youngest senior vice president at the investment firm D.E. Shaw. 4 years later, he quit his lucrative job to open Amazon.com, an online bookstore that became one of the internet's biggest success stories. Unlike Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, Bezos has no interest in charity. Instead, he has a laser focus on growing his brand until Amazon is a dominant global force. Whether you support him or not, his practices have earned him an unreal $131 billion.
No cut.